Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Anno 1800. You can see just in the corner of your screen there that we are setting off on a little bit of an escort quest today, and you've just missed a pretty hectic battle that took place. 3 enemy ships instantly spawned right next to my harbour here, and my flame towers, cannons and ship of the line made quick work of destroying them, so our escort quest can proceed as normal. The other thing that we need to do today is we are going to continue on with our quest, The Contract, and we already have a expedition notification here from that quest. I'm going to show you a few other things as well, but first we're going to do this. The Pyorians are escaping with the contract. The smoke of battle provided the perfect cover for a small craft that's now racing clear of the skirmish. The entire assault must have been a diversion so they could sneak out with the papers. You and Hannah may never know the truth unless you get them back. They have quite a head start, but you might catch them if you give chase. Alternatively, as few harbours nearby will grant them sanctuary, you can try to anticipate their likely heading. So we can either let them run, which we have a bonus success chance of that of 10%, or we can try to trust our lookouts to keep us in range. We are actually going to try this with a 10% bonus success chance and see what happens. There we have them, your navigator smiles. See, here. Their finger traces a route behind Ventura Island. Remarkable how few options they have. Montoya is the only port they might blend in at for 50 leagues. Sure enough, you intercept one of the tiny vessels off Montoya's twinkling bay. It may be no match for your own ship, but to sink them outright risks losing that precious contract to the water. We can either try and disable them or try to board them. We're going to try and disable them. We've got a 50% bonus chance of that because of the naval power that we have with our ship of the line. So that's what we're going to do. And we have discovered a reward. The flame hose, crackerjack, the perfect shot. Though a slender target, the mast snaps through, burying its operators in debris and leaving the boat dead in the water. With the freedom of their ship, your crew find an ingenious looking machine, but no sign of the Prosperity contract. Nevertheless, you are now certain it must have changed hands in nearby Montoya, and make a beeline for the port. So we get this fire extinguisher, and we can either provide extra rations and continue, or just continue. We are going to provide extra rations because of the champagne that we have, and that is going to continue on the expedition. We'll have to wait for the next thing to come back. We also have 3 zoological expeditions here. If we have a look at our zoo here on Ditchwater, I have expanded it a little bit. We've got a load more stuff in here, and that is starting to bring in a few more guests to the town. We've also got a special visitor who's just come in, a merchant. Great, we'll take them. That's a nice new item for us. We're making about 13,000 and our population is currently at 32,000 globally, which is great. We've got 16.9 million in the bank, so finances are looking pretty good. What I want to do is I want to bring in my first engineers. Now, we aren't actually going to do anything with these engineers, but bringing them in will hopefully give us that all-important next step in our stuff. They want eyeglasses, spectacles, but they're not going to get that right now. They are happy. We currently have 31. They all obviously upgrade to engineers. We aren't going to start providing them with the goods that they need, though. The one thing that I do need and want is going to require us to have a few more engineers, but what I'm looking to get is the Saltpeter Works. Now, looking at it, I think we need... What do we need for this? We look at our large harbour here, you can see that we've got the steam shipyard, anti-armour guns and a few others. We've also got an expedition available. That's very difficult, apparently. We're not going to do that yet. If we look over at advanced weapons, let's see if that gives us anything. We can't actually unlock that yet because we need more engineers. We do have a really high artisan population, so I think we are safe to just upgrade our first block of residents into that engineer class. Now, electricity is a need that they have. They also need light bulbs and coffee. We do have coffee, so we can fulfill that need. But right now, spectacles is the next thing that they're going to want. And for spectacles, we actually need sand mines, which we have. We need zinc, we need copper, and then we need to produce brass. But for all of this, we actually need reinforced concrete, which we don't have access to yet. So we're just going to leave it for now. We're going to see what it's going to take us to get up to that saltpeter. I don't know if we can actually get it yet. Looking at our artisans, again, you can see that there's no kind of... It doesn't look like we're able to get it from artisans, so I assume it is part of engineers. Even if we look at our harbour here, we can't put that in place either. Rum, no. Obviously not. Fur coats, no. Hospitals, universities, all of this sort of stuff we do not yet have access to. So it's safe to say that even if we swap to the type of buildings that we're sorting by, we don't have access to that either. I think it might be that we need to get penny farthings to be able to do this. So we're just going to continue upgrading a few things, and getting this also unlocks Sir John Faithful's expedition to the Northwest Passage, which was declared lost in the Arctic. And Lady Jane Faithful is John Faithful's wife. I really need to resist the urge to call him Franklin, because that's what this is a reference to. So they have a lost expedition in the Arctic. Now, this is going to unlock a new land for us. So we're not going to go there yet. We're just going to leave it for now. And we're going to continue upgrading some of our residences. So that should take our engineer population to over 500, but we do have to be aware that some of that is due to a bonus that we get. So we might not yet have unlocked the next step that we need. See, 366, we have a bonus of 200 because of some perks and stuff that we've unlocked, but not to the point where we're able to upgrade that further. So Old Nate is someone that is going to join us. We haven't yet met him, but he is in Cape Trelawney if we did want to meet him. We're just going to finish upgrading these to engineers' residences, and you can see they've now unlocked penny farthings, but again, we're not going to go for that yet. These guys are just going to remain content, which is fine. We could start producing penny farthings now, but if we have a quick look, we still don't have access to... Oh, we do. Hang on. Oh, no, that's Catchwhack. Which we produce in the New World. So again, we still don't quite have what we're looking for to get the saltpeter. It might well be that it gets to pocket watches, and that's where we need it. Or it could be, we've also got the tourist population unlocked, which is great. So these holiday makers, we can now build hotels and stuff to make their lives easier. But right now, if we have a quick look at Ditchwater's attractiveness, the vulgarity and pollution is pretty big. And that's all coming from the steelworks and all of that sort of stuff. So if we can move them to another island and just import all of these goods, that would be really, really useful. Now, what I have done though, over here in Tarik is now producing a lot of soap, and we are already selling a bulk of that at the prison here. So if I go to my trade routes, you'll see that we have a soap-based trade route that takes stuff from all of our surrounding islands and drops them off at the prison, which is great because we're making a tidy bit of profit from that trade route, but it might not last long. Now, I'm just going to leave things a second because I think my game might be about to crash, which is a little bit unfortunate. Oh, no, we're not. We're fine. We're good. So here you can see we're bringing soap from Ditchwater and a few other places to Wormways Prison. So we're going, we pick up 50 from Ditchwater, we pick up 50 from Tarik, 50 from Mousemoor, and then we drop it, and La Marine, and then we drop it all off at Wormways. And that's great because that gives us a nice little bit of profit coming in. But what we then end up with is a massive surplus here of soap, which we could technically trade back to Ditchwater. So we would get rid of a lot of the soap and sausage production that's happening. We could even put sausages somewhere else, maybe on Tarik again, because it's an island that doesn't require fertility. Tarik doesn't have any beer at the moment. I do have a beer run that is going, but it's a little bit unstable at the moment. So what's happening is we've got some beer here called Ditchwater Distribution, which is basically taking beer from Ditchwater and dropping it off at Tarik and Magwitch. The problem is there's not enough beer. And if we look at beer in Ditchwater, you can see as well that there's no beer left there. Now, we have a lot of beer in some of our surrounding areas here, but it doesn't seem to be getting moved fast enough. Given that I'm taking beer to Goldfurt as well, it might be better to add in Goldfurt as a distribution chain and have the ship go all the way to Goldfurt to pick up more beer that it can then transfer along. So we're going to do that. We're going to add Goldfurt in here. We're going to move Goldfurt up to the top and make it the first destination. We are now not going to have them load in 30 units of beer because, as we can see, if we have a quick look, I think there's no beer there. Yeah, there's no beer there either. So we're going to delete that. We are then going to have Goldfurt. We're going to go to Goldfurt. We're going to load in 50 units of beer, and we are going to unload. I think we probably need to unload 30 of it. No, we'll unload 25 there. We'll then unload in Tarik a little bit more, probably 15. And then we'll unload 10 in Magwitch. And this could work, it also could not work, we don't know really, but that trade route needs to be established really. And then we have another route, which is my liquid gold route, they are picking up beer from various locations and dropping them off. Now, the problem that we have is at the moment, La Marine is not producing enough beer to keep up with the demand. So we're going to need to build some more beer production over here in La Marine. And I don't have a lot of space here anymore, unfortunately, but what we could do is we could start arranging some of my islands in a bit more of an efficient way. So bread is produced somewhere else, which will free up some space here in La Marine, so we can actually produce more beer. But for now, we know we need 3 lots of hops farms. We need 2 lots of wheat to establish a beer production line, and that will produce 1 lot of beer. So we have 2 breweries here. We have 1 malt house, which is all we need. And, we now have tractors unlocked as well. Now, that could make things better. But the thing is, with tractors, we actually need to get brass works and stuff up and running because we need to produce the small steam locomotives and small steam engines that help us with that. They also need fuel, which requires oil. And that we are a long way off that. I want our balance to be much higher before we do any of that. And the fact is, we've still got quite a lot of like artisans and stuff, and workers that haven't quite upgraded. And when we do that, the needs and the demands are going to change quite significantly. So we do need to be aware of that as well. Now, I'm just going to start producing. We're not going to be able to do this in a really efficient way, but we are going to start putting out some more fields for hops over here. They're then going to be able to transfer hops to a nearby warehouse, and we'll move the production in a way that suits and makes things a little bit more efficient looking. Because right now, we're just going to have to fill up the space that we've got and try and get as much in as possible. So I'm going to continue putting these hops fields down. We're going to push these all the way to the end of the space that we have, and then that should even out quite nicely. So we'll put this in. We've also just completed that escort quest, which is really good. Then we will finish off by putting these hops farms in. Now, we might actually have enough wheat to make this work already, but I'm not quite sure. So let's just have a quick look. We've got beer there. We have a quick look at the wheat. We're producing a lot of wheat. So I don't think we're going to need wheat as we would think. We're then going to put in our brewery right at the edge here, and then we probably should put in another small warehouse just on the side here, and then we'll fill all of that in. We have enough bricks here, so we're going to upgrade the road to a stone road, and now they should start producing quite a substantial amount of beer. If we have a look at the hops as well, I think hops they're pretty short on, so we do need to be aware of that. But they've got loads of grain. We're producing a lot of sausages, which means I think we could potentially just set up a new trade route and get this hops done. Right, so let's have a look at what engineers we can upgrade as well. So let's get some more engineers in here. So we're going to do a nice little row of engineers housing there, and here, and here. Now things are starting to look pretty good. I'm going to pick up a residence quest. What do we need to do here? Select the building corresponding to the enigma. Oh, okay, so we've got a little bit of a quest here to try and solve something. Answer the enigma by selecting the requested building on any of your islands. Well, oh, that's easy. That's the glassworks. So we need to go to our glassworks, which I think is over here somewhere. Window makers. It was the window makers. We've unlocked a lecturer, which affects it. I think that increases our workforce. I'm not sure. Didn't quite see it. Now, the pocket watchers here, again, still, we've got gold mine, we've got sand, we've got gold, coal, coffee, the botanical garden. Still not quite at that point, though, which is unfortunate. Let's see if we can upgrade and get some more engineers. Right, we're going to go down to this little area here. We're going to upgrade here. If we get light bulbs, I think that might be where we need to be. Right, light bulbs. Still nothing. I'm beginning to think I've missed something here. Now, we could put in a botanical garden, which is a culture building. But we're... Right. Not quite sure how we're not getting saltpeter. Right, let's have a quick look. Ditchwater has nitra deposits. Now, nitra you get from the sea, I think. Okay, right. So we need to work this one out. I've had this problem before, I think. But we've got a special visitor at Ditchwater who we've already taken on. Our profit has gone up, which is nice. Ditchwater's making us a lot of money. That's great. But right now, not being able to get nitra is causing me a little bit of a problem because I do want to get the... Oh, there it is, man. Saltpeter Works. It was way back. Right, okay, so we can put in a Saltpeter Works here. It does need free harbour space, and doing it in Ditchwater seems a little bit counterproductive. La Marine, on the other hand, has plenty of space for saltpeter, as does Mousemere. Now, Mousemere, we've not really done any upgrading to the residencies yet, and that could be something that we look to do so that we can get saltpeter being produced quite nicely. And there's a nice little space there where we could start producing saltpeter. So we're going to do that. We're going to put in our first Saltpeter Works right here. We're going to put another one there and another one there. What does it need? What's it missing? It's missing 16 units of steel beams, so we can load them up into a clipper from here. We'll give it 100, and then we'll head down and drop that off. We need to go to the port, which is over here. And then we'll start by building a little bit of an extension to the pier here, and we'll have them come along, linking up there. And then obviously we'll have to put in a warehouse right on the corner there. And I'll upgrade that immediately. And then we will put in a stone road that goes along here, ending there. Then we're going to add in an extension to our harbour by building a pier, just to fill in the blank space there. Nice. Okay, so we've got that in. We can also, once we get the iron, the steel beams there, we can build another Saltpeter Works. Then we can start transporting saltpeter from here to the new world, which we're going to need a new route set up. Because I think currently... Oh, actually, that's not too bad. These guys are picking up rum and coffee. Ah, no, wait, they're taking it away, aren't they? Yeah, so that doesn't quite work yet. But this one, they can load up saltpeter. So we'll have them load up the saltpeter from here. Obviously, there'll not be anything on there at the moment. And then they'll unload that in Manola, where we're going to be producing a lot of our new world items. Good. Right, so that's been set up now. We now need to set up a smaller trade route, and we could actually just use a clipper for this. So we'll get a little clipper built, just to save on things. A little schooner, sorry, not a clipper. I have one spare clipper here who's ready for action, and they do actually have something that increases their movement speed. My aim eventually is to replace... In fact, what we should do is put this clipper and have it kind of ferrying beer to and from. The good thing is, the engineers no longer need beer. So the demand for beer here will go down because I've got plenty of people who aren't actually having beer now. They're moving on to the harder stuff. They want rum. But they also have coffee here unlocked because we are producing coffee in the New World and bringing it here. So the coffee fulfillment is already sorted. Then we can start looking at spectacles, but we are still, like I said, quite far off that due to the fact that our population isn't high enough. We're not making enough money. So it might be time to start expanding the population on some of our other islands. Now, Tarik has already had a bit of a bump in population, but it would be a good idea to give them a little bit more. Now, their work clothes is a little bit patchy at this moment in time, so I reckon we could probably do with duplicating our work clothes production here and putting it somewhere else. Now, it does fit here. I just didn't want to expand it too much, but we're now going to do that. So we're going to demolish the work clothes production that we've got here. and we're going to copy this one across and put it in right here. Just demolish that last one, and then we can copy this and place it here. Right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Embessa before we finish off, because I've just had a message there from them. I think I might have covered this in a last episode, but there's no harm in going back over it again. So over in Embessa, you are kind of trying to unify all of the local tribes under one banner. But there are ways you can go about this. Now, a lot of them really want to maintain their traditional values and their religion and all of that sort of stuff. But Emperor Katema has seen pictures of my fabulous Docklands area and wants to make sure that we kind of abandon those old things. The problem is, when you get to a certain point in that quest line, this sort of stuff starts to happen. We've refused to abandon those values, so Emperor Katema has said, we're not going to continue supporting you. And every now and then, somebody from this island of Waha Desha, until we kind of proceed with that quest line, they will tell us that they're short on supplies and you have to deliver supplies. And they are usually likes of hibiscus tea and dried meat. Now, previously, it had only been 21 tons of dried meat and 17 tons of hibiscus tea. And the issue is now it's gone up a little bit, which is causing us a little bit of a problem. I'm just going to pause production over here at this dry brick house because this requires clay and we don't have anything kind of set up for bringing clay in and out. It was just a ship that I'd loaded up with clay and dropped off. So anyway, we're going to pull a ship back to my main island here of Tabarime, which I haven't expanded any other islands yet. You will see that very soon. We've only established this one. And we'll do a little bit more in depth later on where I kind of tell you how we've got to and where we're at currently here in Tabarime. But for now, it's just important that we get this little schooner out, dropping off those goods. I can actually get back because once it arrives, and all I'm doing is I'm just having those two ships swap places so that there's always one at Wahadesha that's just dropped off and then one at the island of Tabarime. Now, Tariq is a little bit of an issue here because we're still waiting for the clothing to be sorted out. It is kind of getting there, but we've lost some population, and as a result of that, we've also lost a little bit of income. Looking over at Magwitch are pretty happy. They've got some artisans here. We don't want to push them too high up on that, though. We've also got Western, which could do with some upgrades. They're pretty flush with the food and stuff, so maybe we expand a little bit there. I think that's probably a good idea. Now, I do have enough space to kind of have another set of workers' residences that come off in this direction, so I think we should probably do that. So for now, we're going to demolish this road here. I'm then going to blanket copy this entire swathe of buildings here, and we're going to put it in down here. Now, we do run out of space a little bit there, so it might be that it's better if we kind of push it forward a touch. Let's have a go to there. That works. We're going to allow them to have their goods as requested, and we're then going to demolish this block of housing so that it's just kind of an edge there. And then we can put in a final road, link everything up. Great, so that gives us a lot more. Now we need to make sure that our work clothes are okay over here, because we only have one set of work clothes production, and we know with this expansion here, we're going to need more. So again, we'll expand this work clothes. It doesn't quite fit in that little gap there, which is a bit of a shame, but we will find somewhere for it, probably at the back here. That's nice. Goes in there perfectly. Good. Then I've just noticed that little bit of road will be missing from this one, so we'll put that in. Good. So we're starting to expand. You can see our profits have gone up to 14,000 now. Western is now making a nice bit of profit, and these guys are just going to be farmers for now, which is fine. We have 4 lots of fisheries. We're probably going to need another one, so I'm going to copy this one. We're going to put it over at this bay here. Let's go with 2. I do have a calculator that helps me with this sort of demand, but as we're just kind of plonking things down at this moment in time. I think it's best that I just do that and then we reassess at a later date. We're currently only making 12,000, but that's fine. Now, over in La Marine. La Marine seems to have already had a bit of expansion, and they're coping all right with it. Good. Let's have a quick look over at Tarik and see if that's sorted itself out now. It has, so the population will creep back up. They currently have an arts festival ongoing as well. And then over in Mousemere, where they've had quite a bit of expansion happening, but not to the point where, you know, we're considering what's next. If we have a quick look at what we're going to need, we obviously have the variety theatre in place, which is an important part of this. So let's upgrade here, because we know they're going to want beer. Canned goods is what they need. If we have a look back over in Ditchwater now, you can see here that engineers are content. So they aren't happy, but they are reasonably content. We'll allow them to have soap, which is a lifestyle need, because we've got quite a bit of soap here. And that's good, because that allows us to fulfill a lifestyle need that will increase their happiness a little bit more. Fur coats are a problem. Now, I have picked up an item that I can use in my trade union. And this item converts this fur dealer, so it no longer requires cloth, it uses wool instead. Now, if we have a look here, instead of cotton fabric, the building processes wool, which means we no longer need the demand. Even though we've got plenty of wool there, we have plenty of wool actually, we don't have fur. Fur trade seems to have dropped off completely. If I have a look at my routes, you can see it's because I'm not actually exporting any fur. So what we need to do is we need to set up another route from... Oh, we're in the wrong place. Right, so we need to set up a new trade route that takes furs from Magwitch to Ditchwater. We're going to load up all the furs we possibly can. We've got 375, so they are full, and they're then going to unload it. And we're actually going to have a clipper go and do this. So in the old world, we currently have the Goblin Shark, which is a fast clipper. They're going to go and take that. Done. Great. Right, so this episode is getting longer by the minute, so we're going to bring it to an end by trading this steel. And then we are going to build our final Saltpeter Works. And if we have a quick look, I don't need schnapps on there anymore because we've got plenty of schnapps. If we have a quick look over here at Saltpeter, we are producing 8 we've got there. And every 2 minutes, we are producing Saltpeter, which isn't great. So let's build another Saltpeter Works. And I think we can go with another one. And then we'll build the road out a little bit more to here. I'll just move this last one in. Perfect. Right, good. We're not going to move the pier around yet because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a small... Let's build a depot here. Just to fill in the space a little bit. Like that. And then we can have the quay go along a little bit further. I should probably do that with the other space here. But that's going to give us a little bit more storage space, which means we can continue building saltpeter and getting saltpeter in. Then we're going to have a clipper. Where's my clipper? My clipper's back there somewhere. So this clipper is going to go to Mousemere. From Mousemere to Goldfurt. We're going to load up all of the saltpeter here. Like that. And then we're going to unload it there. And then the route that takes stuff to the new world will start getting supplied. And that's us done for today. So we've now started sending saltpeter to the new world. Once it's produced, that's going to be really useful. We can start moving forward with our aluminium and get the helium constructed that we need to start building our airships. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you for the next one. Bye-bye.